Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
What is up, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? Thank you for joining us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back to the show. Hey, if it's your first time here, let me tell you what we do. We are the show that dives into the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen. And we do it one track at a time. I am your co-host, Mark Kamier. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, how we feeling? How you doing?
Oh, man, I tell you, I took an entire month off, and I'm just back to work this week, 2 days ago. So this week has been kicking my ass. So I'm exhausted. I'm fed up, but very, very happy because tonight is the Patreon show. That's right. All of our Tier 4 supporters are on the call here tonight. All are going to get a special Mark Kamier intro, I'm sure. But this is always a highlight of the month for you when we can get all of our friends on here, talk a little Van Halen.
We had so much fun the last time that we figured, hey, let's make this a regular thing. And obviously these guys agreed. So welcoming back to the show, our humble top tier, shall we say, patrons here, starting at the one side, Michael Griffith, Matt Lacoste, and Josh Caldwell. Welcome back to the show, everybody. How are you all feeling?
Awesome. Good to be back.
All fired up.
I'll cheers to that too.
Everyone's feeling
awesome.
Feeling it.
Great to be back.
That a juice box? I think I saw a juice box.
Juice box, yes. Whatever your beverage of choice, you'll need it because often I will repeat words and phrases that are synonymous with the show for being, hey, take a shot every time Mark says this because he says a lot of nonsense. So be ready with that juice box. No judgment here. All right, we're all ready to get on with this show. Corey, what's going on in the world of Van Halen news?
All right. Well, a little thing called the Starfleet Project was reissued this past weekend. I know Kevin Brown has the big vinyl edition coming his way. I think he got held up. He doesn't have it yet. So that's unfortunate. But Mark, since Kevin is lurking in the chat here, and I got you on here, on his Queen show, Seaside Pod Review, he mentioned that maybe we should do a little team-up show and the podcast will rock and Seaside Pod Review to talk about the Starfleet Project because we have Brian May from Queen and Eddie Van Halen. So what do you think? I'm down if you are.
Does that mean we have to be in like the same room together as Kevin? And it's just like, it's always chaos and it's just a big pain in the ass. So of course, why wouldn't we do that? That sounds like an awesome time. I'm into it.
And we'll have the cardinal of the Church of Go Fuck Yourself, Randy Woods will be there as well. So guaranteed a good time will be had by all. So Kevin, if you're there, pick a date, my friend. We're ready to do this thing.
There you go.
Also, Sammy Hagar. Again, I'm checking Van Halen News Desk and all of our friends there. Sammy Hagar says in an interview that he's going to get a little heavier into the Van Halen in the upcoming. He plans on touring again with the Circle, and he plans on covering a little more Van Halen tunes because, as he said in the article, that he just doesn't know how much longer he's going to be able to sing it. So he wants to kind of cover as much ground as he can. And of course, Mikey, I'm sure will take a turn. He's been doing Running with the Devil and Ain't Talking About Love and a couple other tracks. So if Sammy and the Circle are coming your way this fall, maybe into 2024, I'd recommend going to check them out. Of course, they never come to Canada, so I won't get a chance. But Mark, you're in the musical hotbed down there, so sure they'll be coming your way.
Well, you would think so, but you would be amazed how many shows do not come to my neck of the woods for various reasons. Who the hell knows? But Matt Lacoste, if this is true, if Sammy's going to go back on tour and hit us with some heavy Van Halen hitters, what's the one song you absolutely would want to hear him do? No questions asked.
Tough call because he can't do them all the way he used to. I saw him last summer here. And he did some Van Halen stuff. Like he can't sing Dreams anymore, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, if he's with Michael, like Black and Blue would be something that'd be cool, right?
Oh,
Because they could do that. That's easy. Yeah.
Josh, do you have one to follow for that?
Aftershock.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think about the ones that Sammy wouldn't do because he can't do, but I don't know. I'll have that thing. Michael, do you have a particular song you would absolutely need to hear Sammy do?
I do. I have seen Sammy in the Circle a couple of times. I'm in Sacramento, and they came a few months ago, and then mysteriously right before the show started, that Michael Anthony was missing, and they said he had some issue and couldn't be there. So it turned into a Wabos show basically with Bonham playing drums, which is okay, but it's, you know, it's the same set list. So I think it's great they're adding new stuff to it. I've never seen him do 5150 on his own or with the Circle or anything before. Maybe he has, but I think that one would be great.
That would be an interesting. I would like to hear that too, especially because without Eddie's presence on it, how does 5150 hit as hard, or does it hit differently? I'd be very curious to hear that. That would be cool, and I'd be curious to know who would be playing guitar in that. I'm not sure who Sammy's other guitar player is in the Circle, but I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. So competency. That's what we're after there. So wouldn't get the same Eddie feel, but you might get a feel for it. I'd be very curious to hear that as well. So right on. All right on. Anything else going on, Corey?
Oh yeah, let me bring it back. And since you didn't ask me, I would want to hear "Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do" from Balance. Give me some Balance tracks from Sammy.
Nice.
Circle. That'd be cool.
I just assumed you would just go ahead and say like, this is what I would choose.
Run Around, always. Run Around, one of my favorite songs.
There you are.
Another great article here. The most streamed Van Halen deep cuts on Spotify. They listed Spotify listed the top 3 deep cuts of a lot of different hard rock bands. Van Halen's top 3 were kind of interesting. I'll spoil it here for all you who didn't read the article. Number 3 was Drop Dead Legs. So pretty decent deep cut there. Number 2, Ice Cream Man. And number 1, I don't know if this qualifies as a deep cut anymore, but Eruption.
Was it ever a deep cut?
I know, right?
No.
Like, I don't know if that qualifies for deep cut, but according to Spotify, that's their most streamed deep cut.
Interesting. Maybe a deep cut in the sense of it's not an actual fully fleshed out Van Halen song so much as it's a Eddie Van Halen showcase. Maybe that's what they mean by deep cut, but sure. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll let you have that one, but
just call a spade a spade. That's not a deep cut.
Yeah.
It's not. Ridiculous. You're right. It's not. Like Ice Cream Man is more of a deep cut than Eruption is, and Ice Cream Man's not a deep cut either, I don't think. But again, that's just me.
Yeah. Oh, and Kevin Brown agrees. First, we should say hi to Kevin, hi to Ryan Powell. Deep cut defined by not being a single. He says, I guess, the Eruption was never a single, right? So I guess. But like Kevin Brown says,
okay.
How the shit is Eruption to deep cut. Yeah, we kind of agree with you. It's a band defining, nay, genre defining song. Yeah, that kind of hit the nail right on the head. So
Eruption precedes You Really Got Me, right? That's the twofer on every regular rock station ever. Like you don't get one without the other, right?
And I tell you, if you were a proud owner of Van Halen Best of Volume 1, Eruption begins the whole album and then is preceded by Ain't Talking About Love. And that's not a bad transition either. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. A couple more articles here. First, Jeff Brewer says Ice Cream Man has the greatest solo ever. Yeah. I don't think you'll get much argument on this call. Mammoth WVH is going to headline their own tour with Nita Strauss this fall.
Yeah.
So that is, if you're into some guitar rock, man, that is the show to go check out. Wolfie and Nita, I think, are going to put on a hell of a show. Of course, coming nowhere near me. I'm pretty sure I saw a Tennessee date in here, though, Mark. So you may have to go check it out.
I think they are coming here. I mean, specifically because I think Nita either has people here or maybe she's got a place over here. I'm not sure. She's in Nashville a lot. So that being the case, why not? And I'm pretty sure Wolfie does really well around here when he comes to town. And you know when you go to the show that they're gonna be doing some stuff together on stage, some like guitar duels, something like that. If you've never heard Nita Strauss, I highly recommend it. She played for Alice Cooper for years, She's back with Alice Cooper, but she has her own solo stuff. Highly recommend it. May not be your cup of tea, but the guitar work she is able to pull off is pretty incredible. So seeing and hearing her and Wolfie go back and forth on stage, I mean, that's going to be super fun. If they are coming to your town, I would highly recommend going. And if they're coming to my town, I'm going.
Ryan Powell already has tickets for Denver.
There you are.
One more reason to envy Ryan Powell. And finally, this was just added today, so I didn't get a chance to read it. But the headline is Kip Winger on how David Lee Roth influenced his stage performance.
Oh boy. I have to read that because my curiosity is just is so piqued from that.
And that was actually, I think he actually, the interview is with Darren Paltrowitz on the Paltrowcast, who's been a guest on our show. Yes. So
yeah, what's up?
Great get, Darren. Good job, my friend. So yeah, check that out and much, much more on the Van Halen News Desk, www.vhnd.com.
Maybe you all on the panel can put some context for me because I've never admittedly seen Kip Winger live, at least not on stage. I've seen him in passing in person actually, but I've never seen his show. Is there any sort of merit to that statement that do you see a David Lee Roth influence, or is he just kind of blowing smoke up our asses?
When I hear Winger, I think of Beavis and Butthead and Little Stuart with the Winger t-shirt on. That's always my first image.
Mine is Lars in the 2.5 years in the making of Metallica, the Black Album, when he's throwing darts at his picture.
Mine too.
Kip Winger. Winger sucks. Yeah. That guy sucks. No.
Well then.
Well, I just kind of skimmed the article. Yeah, and he names David Lee Roth and Paul Stanley as his two biggest influences, which if you want to be a front man, you can do a lot worse than those two.
Oh, that's true. I mean,
that's cool. There's probably a bunch of dudes that say the same thing, but why are we talking about Kip Winger? Okay, cool.
Definitely, yeah. Not I mean, based on again, I've never seen his live show, so I can't speak on it. But just based on what I've heard and what I've seen video wise and what have you, I don't see a lot of. Maybe he's purposely not imitating Paul Stanley or David Lee Roth.
You can only do so much when you're playing the bass, right? Especially if you're trying to emulate David Lee Roth.
He plays the bass, and maybe he was influenced by David Lee Roth when he wrote "She's Only 17," which is problematic at the best.
Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me. Those lyrics don't hold up.
I'll be honest with you guys, and this may hurt a lot of listeners. It's fine. I'm used to hurting some of our listeners with my words, but there's a lot of problematic lyrics in 80s songs in the rock genre, and I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, Motley Crue had one. She's only 15. She's the reason I can't sleep. You say illegal. Legal's never been my thing. Oh my goodness.
You got Christine.
There's a lot.
Christine 16 from Kiss, yeah.
That's probably the Winger song.
There's a lot, but then you got Kip Winger saying it. And it's like, Kip Winger, go away.
Somehow when Kip Winger does it, it's so much worse.
It's just worse.
Okay, it's worse.
Go away.
Well, and now we've pissed off the Winger files, so they're gonna come for me.
That's okay. I think it's a small crowd, and I don't think they're.
You'll get more fans for that move.
At Mark the Bet on Twitter. Come at me. So, all right, right on. So shall we move on to the poll?
Yes, let's do that.
Last week, we went over I'll say a divisive track, to say the least. We discussed a political blues. And this was one that I didn't think it was going to do well in the upvotes. But I certainly didn't think it was going to do as poorly. What we have here is a 52.7% Dream is over the 47.3% What Dreams Are Made Of. So actually, this was a lot closer than I could have predicted, and it definitely went the other way. Now, the song is not one of Van Halen's best, and we're not arguing that it is, but I don't know. Sometimes with these polls, it's hard to really get a read on how people are going to vote. So, Corey, are you shocked at all by the poll results on this?
Not really. The three of us on the call that night were pretty split, and I was just barely This Dream Is Over, and you were just barely at What Dreams Are Made Of. I kind of predicted 60-40 to the good, and it was closer to So the fact this is kind of right down the middle doesn't surprise me at all, because like you said, very divisive song, and pretty much all the votes are in that meh category.
Right.
No one really stood up and
yeah.
said, "This is the." Oh, Chaz Charles actually came out and said it was a really great blues song, and we're being too hard on it. But everybody else was just kind of like, "Yeah, I don't get it."
Nah, yeah, not too keen. So since I have you guys on the panel, I'll just go ahead and ask you, Michael Griffith, did you vote for A Political Blues? And if you did, how did you vote and why?
I voted for it. But back in the day, me and my friends were all Van Halen fans, and they had the cassette, and I thought it was really cool getting the CD. And I have this extra track. And then we all listened to it, and it was kind of a letdown compared to everything else. It's a cool blues song for the blues, but it's not. You guys said on the cast, Dave does it better, and he does. So it's just barely above, voting it up.
Very fair. That's kind of how I felt about it as well. And then I had the personal sort of nostalgia creeping in on me. Matt Lacoste, how did you vote?
Down. I had the cassette. I didn't have that song. And I was talking to a buddy of mine as I was listening to the cast from last week. I'm not even sure the CD I bought when I updated OU812, if that even had it. It's easily the least listened to song in their entire catalog for me in my life. Like, I've listened to every song on Van Halen 3, God help me, more than I've heard that song.
Think of one more.
It's just not them. It's not what they do. It's fine. It's meh. It's a meh, which is not Van Halen to me. So,
I mean, again, no real arguments on that one. Josh, were you more on the optimistic approach, or were you a resounding no?
It was a very soft upvote. I mean, it's not a song I would play on repeat, or even honestly, if it, if the album was remixed and remastered and they left that one off, I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't be missing it.
No, it's definitely, I don't think this is a track people would be sad if it was gone, but I don't know. It could be based on the polling. That's what it seems like. But let's hear what some of our other people have to say. And I'm going to read the tweets out from our patron list. If you want your tweets guaranteed read on the show, you guys go over and join our Patreon. Find a tier that's right for you. Guarantee we have it. And if we don't, let us know. We'll make it for you. Let's see. And I'll go over the list of patrons before we end out. But just to go through the poll here, our buddy Ryan Powell says, I understand the reasons this doesn't get a whole lot of love. Aside from being a cover, it's not even a cover with a Van Halen twist. What it is, though, is straightforward, raw, down, and dirty blues, and Van Halen does a damn good job showing off their chops. He says, this isn't rock, but it is Van Halen. But what makes Van Halen is their mastery over their instruments, their mastery of playing together, playing off each other, and playing as a cohesive unit that is greater than the sum of its parts. With this lens, a political blues can be appreciated as a distillation of that mastery, and as a demonstration that Van Halen doesn't have to Van Halenize the blues for it to be compelling, and what dreams are made of. So hashtag what dreams are made of. So Ryan, ever the optimist, coming in going, I see why you hate it. However, always go with those little mini manifestos that we appreciate. And some of those statements I would probably go like, yeah. Cause I gave it like a soft pass, but if he had the opposite reaction, I wouldn't have blamed him either. So, all right, moving on. Let's see. We're going to our buddy Tarm Umbruster says, it sounds more like a filler Sammy solo track than a Van Halen song. We know what the sum of the parts of Van Halen sound like, and this just didn't combine in an equation that made sense. So I'm assuming Tom said, nope, not for me. And again, with those points, I'm not arguing against it because it was a very difficult song to judge. So Greg Zito says, I like when Van Halen does the blues, but this one doesn't hit the sweet spot. They could have chosen a blues tune that better fit their style. Some good moments, but just not good enough. It's not the Goonies. The Goonies are good enough, but apparently a political blues is not, according to Greg Zito. So there you go. We're probably going to see a pattern of this. But moving on here, making sure I'm not missing anybody. Scott Everett, our buddy Scott, says, not my favorite song by a long shot, but kind of cool hearing Van Halen's take on the blues. I appreciate it more now than I did when I was a rocking 16-year-old. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like the blues itself is more of like a, dare I say, mature, grown-up sort of genre of music. And I say that only because the blues, by the definition of what they are, it's like, okay, these are songs about hard people, hard lives, hard things happening. So you get that with experience and with age. So not to say that blues is old, but I mean, it kind of is. Would anyone disagree? Blues is kind of old. But that's the charm. That's the charm of it, I think.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
there was a thing with a lot of hard rock bands at a certain point. Everybody wanted to kind of do a Zeppelin blues song, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so all these bands, especially around that time, late 80s, like I think, let's do a blues. We got to have one blues song, right? And whatever. They threw it together and they recorded it half-assed and whatever. But
Sure.
I don't know. It's just, it's not them. It's not what they do.
Maybe a way of making themselves feel, not Van Halen per se, but like bands that would do that, making themselves feel credible in the rock world. It's like if we play blues and we pull it off, it makes us seem like legit. So I get that mindset, but at the same time, it's like, well, you're trying too hard, I think. So don't do that.
100%.
Yeah. Our buddy Kevin Brown, let's see. He says, lots to like about this throwaway jam. Ed's honky tonk piano is fun, but as Van Heathen said, Heath there said on the episode, it really doesn't sound anything like Van Halen, and it's a demo quality recording at best. Lastly, Sammy simply doesn't sing blues convincingly. The dream is over for me, I'm afraid. And again, I am not going to argue those points. I would say, does Sammy sound good vocally? Yeah. Does he sound like a good blues singer? No, because he's not. So, and unfortunately, because of the style of the way the song is structured, not necessarily what Sammy is built for. But that's not to say that he isn't built for anything, because I mean the guy's got a set of pipes. But know your lane, and apparently this one was not the lane to be driving over 55 on. So. There you go. Our buddies from the Deep Purple podcast say, not the strongest What Dreams Are Made Of, but I can't vote this one down. I suspect perhaps there's a good bit of love for the blues for the Deep Purple podcast, being that they go over Deep Purple, a lot of blues influence in that. So yeah, I could maybe, and I'm just speculating, that's why they gave it a soft pass. But Corey, are you noticing the pattern, the back and forth people are having with this song?
I just brought up this great quote from Tom in the chat. Blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad about the woman he once was with, from Willie Brown. So there you go. And I'm totally distracted by the chat because they went on a Winger tangent there for a while. Ryan Powell had no idea who the hell Kip Winger was, had to look him up. Kevin Brown, basically the consensus is apologies to Kip. Seems like a nice fella, and he has a funny name.
I don't know. Part of me kind of even doesn't even want to give him the apologies to little moniker is like that. Nah, that belongs to Gary. That belongs to Mikey.
To Kip Winger.
Yeah, it's like nah. I'm not sure Kip Winger has earned that one, but I don't know. But if I'm wrong, if he listens to the show and he's like, "What the hell, assholes?" then we'll have a discussion. But
and Ryan Powell has his own. Ryan says his tagline on the show should be, "I see why you don't like it." However, maybe we should get that on a T-shirt for him.
Ooh, I would love that. I would love that shirt. Oh man, that's good. Back to the poll here. Scott Monroe says a straight up blues and a bar song that sounds more like a track from Red Voodoo by Sammy and the Wabaritos. Yeah, there we go. I've never actually said that out loud. It's dawning on me. So Sammy and the Wabaritas. I hadn't listened to the song in about 2 decades until your episode. You guys perfectly captured the mixed feelings I've always had. It's a shrugging man emoji. And he goes on to say, it's always been a skip for me. I definitely would have liked a full band version of Eagles Fly instead of this. I agree. Or if they broke away from the blues in the solo section and gave us classic Van Halen flavor. It's better live, but ultimately I'm with Chairman Mao. Hashtag the dream is over. Hashtag no calls.
Holy
there you go.
That's an interesting point because, like with Dave, I'm the one is one kind of song, then they break out and do the shooby dooby thing, and then they go back to the song. They could have done something like that in this one with Sam, but they didn't do anything. They just played it straight.
It's a standard blues song. It's just a standard blues thing. That's not even. Just is what it is. It's weird. It's just a weird
elevate it. Yeah.
Decision. Yeah.
I
A
feel
band like
if
ZZ
it-
Top does that song, they're going to elevate it. Like they're going to add
Right,
something
see-
to it. They're going to, improve on it. Van Halen just kind of
Totally.
just, yeah.
Yes.
I think if it-
what's when the ZZ Top song Jesus left
Jesus just left Chicago.
Let's just let
yes.
Chicago,
I mean that cranks into a whole nother thing 3/4 of the way through, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an awesome thing. That I don't know. The song sucks. It's not a good
I think
song.
I think because it's Van Halen, and I think they build up such expectations with people. If it had been any other band performing this cover just like they did, I don't know that people would have cared, or they would have cared so much, or had a reaction of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But because Van Halen did just play it so straight, and they didn't throw in their isms or their flavor, yeah, it does make one feel that it's lacking. I'll definitely not argue against that. From the regarding Lulu, that's our buddy Chaz. He says, wow, tough room. They finally give us a blues number. This is how we treat them. And that's all he says. So it's I'm going to assume he voted for the yay because he was really excited for this blues tune. But sorry, Chaz. I mean, hey, I gave it a soft pass too, but what can you do? And then finally, our friend Jeff Brewer, he says, Ed used to say Van Halen lost gigs because he couldn't make the cover tunes sound like the original. Ed always sounded like Ed. That's why they were the world's greatest cover band. The covers were always Van Halenized. This just sounds like Little Feat, not Ed. First downvote for me. Poor Jeff. And he goes on to say, I do like the dub piano noodling Ed does in this tune, but it's a throwaway song. In a 1988 radio interview, Rockline, I think, Sam and Ed called Little Feat, and this song in particular, sloppy but tight. When OU812 or 12 OU812 came out, I luckily bought the cassette. So, Jeff, I'm sorry we had to make you downvote this one. I feel the heartbreak in your voice, but them's the bricks. He's in the chat. What's he saying?
Well, he said the perfect line. I think we just covered it with ZZ Top. Van Halen usually elevates their cover tunes. And yes, they usually do.
Yes, they usually do. And this one, not so much.
Yeah. Kevin Brown says a person should not believe in an ism. He should believe in himself. So now we're just going to give inspirational quotes all night. So thank you for that, Kevin. There's a fine line between clever and stupid is one of my favorite quotes. And then Ryan Powell says, I'll give you that, Kevin, not a great blues song as source material, which I would agree. A blues standard, a little on the weaker side, needed to be elevated.
It did. And I know that I feel like everyone's going to place the blame on Sammy for that track, for the way it's sounding so meh. And I don't know that Sammy is the one that's entirely at fault here. But I may have to die on that hill alone. I don't know. But he certainly doesn't help it because, it's not his wheelhouse,
I think he actually turns in a pretty good performance in the song, but that's exactly it. He's just not, he's a rock singer. He's not a blues singer. And you can be both or you cannot be both. And I don't think he's both.
He's definitely not both. No.
No.
That again, that is one of the ways that David Lee Roth he's got a few over Sammy in terms of who's the, I guess, better front man. And it's a conversation I hate having, but I'm just like, all right, well, if we're having a point system, there's one point he definitely has over Sammy. So there you go. I will concede to that, all you Rothers out there.
I tell you what, this whole project Chaz is working on, I've seen a little bit of it now. Hopefully we can debut it next show. I've just had too much going on here. I'm trying OBS and stuff again, but we're going to really be able to break down the two, actually three singers in Van Halen. statistically from all this different stuff. I'm disappointed in all you on the call, though, because when I said that quote from Kevin Brown, I wanted somebody to pipe in with a Ferris Bueller comment, and nobody did, because that's from the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ryan got it. He said, "Say Ferris." Tom says, "Hashtag justice for Cameron."
Justice for Cameron. I was too distracted by keeping the show going and stuff like that.
I see.
So
You're actually working. I'm just having fun with the guys in the chat. My bad.
It's all good.
I'm a Sloan Peterson guy.
It's George Peterson. So there you go. There's no, thank you. The tweets from the poll from people who are on our Patreon. Like I said, if you want your tweet guaranteed read on the show and have it discussed and analyzed with the rest of us, then join our Patreon. You will have a good time, I assure you. We'll make it fun for you, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry, that was aggressive. Anywho, Corey, I think it's time to get into our favorite part of the show now, and that is what you all came here to do besides listen to the song, and that's pick a guess. That's right. Here's your drink, Manifestations. Oh, man. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I want to manifest a Sammy tune, and that's it. And that's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to shed a little light because we received an email this week.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, but I can't help it.
Well, I want to shout him out because he took the time to write us. Daniel Keir from the UK decided to write us an email and let us know that he does enjoy the show, but Mark consistently makes him want to bash his head into the steering wheel while he's sitting in traffic.
I mean, it seems excessive, but it's not the first time I've heard that.
Hey, guess what, Daniel?
But he listens.
Yeah, welcome to his fiance's world. I don't think you're the only one that he has that effect on.
Holy shit.
I never said I was perfect, but basically, I mean, it was a very long-winded way of saying that I hear your opinion, but I'm going to tell you why it's not correct. It's like,
well,
okay.
why he doesn't agree. His final paragraph was, however, I do listen to every episode of the show and very much enjoy it. And Mark's opinions often lead to a middle-aged man bashing the dashboard, shouting expletives at the top of his voice in a traffic jam in the city of Bristol in the UK.
I hear you.
Well, you should be careful. Bristol is a lovely place, I think. I don't know. I've never been there.
And then he said, shout out the name of your band because you don't do that enough. And, let's get him some exposure. So
Rose of Sharon, a tribute to Killswitch Engage, will be in Huntsville, Alabama, August 5th. So be there. We'll be there with Vulgar Display of Nashville. So you Bammers who love Pantera, you're going to have a great time.
I'm seeing them in a month. I can't wait.
Vulgar
Pantera.
Yeah, of course.
Opening up for Metallica. But yes.
That's true, yeah.
Yes. Good
I'm
for
a year
you.
and a month
And
away.
By the
I
way,
hope they make it.
By the way, I'm a middle-aged man and I don't want to, bang my head on anything when I listen to you talk. Otherwise, I wouldn't fucking listen.
Well,
I don't
that's
know what
good.
that guy's problem is. That's weird.
I was like, hey, look, I do a show with Corey all the time. So, I mean, and so far he hasn't bashed his head in, and he does a podcast with John Mariano. So, I mean,
I know.
if
Aren't we all middle-aged
right?
men?
Exactly. Exactly. Jeff says, I understand how he feels. Does he understand how the dude from the UK feels, or how Mark feels, or how Matt feels? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which one he
Whatever,
understands, but hey, look, if my voice does that to you, then fret not, because there's only so many episodes left, but you should still stay tuned. Anywho, so Manifestations, there we go. I got mine out of the way. I just want a Sammy tune just for funsies. Corey, what do you want to bring to the table? What do you want to manifest for tonight's show with this great ensemble we have?
Well, first I'll head to the Discord server. We had a few people chime in there with their manifestations. Jeff Brewer originally wanted to hear Mean Street, but we already covered that one. He asked if a reverse mulligan is a thing, which it totally is not.
No,
but he did up his Patreon amount. So he said, "Does that you get it on the wheel?" I said, "No." But once we finish off Fair Warning, we'll talk about Mean Street again when we do the ranking show. So there's an opportunity there. Scott Manifesto wanted to hear Hang 'em High. So then Jeff said, "Yeah, I changed my vote to Hang 'em High." That'd be a good one there. Ryan
Great
Powell
one.
wanted to hear a little Dreamer. He seems no one's
Dreamer.
talking about those crazy days gone by. So that would be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kevin Brown again spanked because he's an agent of chaos. My God, he's just going to keep calling it until he gets it right. And then he's going to get the Called Your Shot t-shirt. He goes, that's how you do it, right? Like, no, call it naturally. You don't just sit there and point to the outfield wall until you finally hit a dinger. No, call it naturally.
Waiting for all the it's like the wheels down to 4 songs and Spank is still on there. It's like, well, now I can call my shot, right? It's like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I did it. But I want to hear a Sammy tune too. I'm still in an OU 812 mood. I'd like to hear Black and Blue.
Ooh, all right. Black and Blue. It's been mentioned a lot. It's been manifested quite a bit over the course of this show. So maybe it's time. I don't know. We'll find out.
Tom in the chat says he doesn't listen while he drives, so we all piss him off. It's probably a good thing you don't listen to the show while you're driving, my friend. And Jepper says everyone. That was just related to everyone. So.
Oh, just everyone. There you go. So yeah, don't listen to us and drive because God forbid I make you bash your head into your own windshield and cause an accident. Nobody needs that. Michael,
Tom wants to hear Humans Being. He got in a late manifestation. So.
Well, if you were tuning into social media, you might have heard it this past weekend, but more on that later. Michael, what song do you want to bring to the fold tonight?
So actually, I wore my 1984 shirt.
Aha.
Nice.
Nice.
So I want to help. I think you have one left, right?
We have one left. Yep. House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Absolutely. There it is. He wants to close it out.
A little story when I kind of became a diehard Van Halen fan, my friend says, go buy, Van Halen 1984 on CD. It's a couple years after it came out. And he goes, forget the singles, only listen to the deep tracks. Drop Dead Legs, which is what you mentioned earlier, Corey. And then this song, House of Pain, are just standouts to me. So that's great.
Excellent.
All right. Breaking the Sammy voting already, just breaking the streak. So let's see. What will Matt Lacoste do? What do you want to listen to tonight?
Light Up the Sky.
Ooh.
It's time.
It's time. I agree.
It is time. Yeah. I would not be mad about that. Josh
There
Caldwell,
are a lot
how about yourself, man?
things in that song that happens that are kind of trend setting in a way that I would love to discuss, but we'll see.
Oh, I definitely want to talk about that. So, Josh, how about you, man?
Another vote for Hang 'em High.
Hang 'em high.
It's great.
There you are. All great choices. I am into it. I am not mad at any of those choices. So we'll see what the wheel will do. If tradition is any indication, we'll get none of them. But we'll find out. There's only so many she can skip because we're getting down to it. So
Josephina, let's go.
Why would you do that? Why would you do it? Oh,
he did it. He evoked the name. It's gonna.
He
happen.
did. So that's what's So Matt calls his shot. There it is. He's calling for Josephina. He's trying to close. He's trying to close that shit out. And I hope for his sake that occurs. So all right, Corey.
No.
no, you can't retract it. Can't retract it. There it is. It's set in stone. It's all on record. If how many times must we prime the wheel?
Well, I was going to do it 3 because we have 3 guests. But did you give your manifestation or did I miss it?
I did. I said a Sammy tune.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
just
picky.
a Sammy tune, right? Okay.
Yeah, just a Sammy tune. Whatever.
All right. I think I have a wheel here. I am going to figure out how I'm going to shuffle this thing. Shuffle it 1, 2, 3 times. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, we're going to Van Halen 2. Bottoms up.
We're so
close. Pleasure Dome.
We're so close to Pleasure Dome. Oh,
almost.
But bottoms up. We're back. So it was meant to be. It was going to be a Roth, and we're going to one of my favorite albums, Van Halen 2. I wonder, not to show anybody's hand, whatever, but do we have particular thoughts, a yay or nay, particular thoughts on bottoms up, or are we just ready to just listen to it? I'll take that as a yay. There we go. People are just excited. They don't want to say too much until we get into it.
I'll say this. Bottoms Up is just one of those. This is what they tried to do with Apolitical Blues, right? Recreate something close to some sort of blues thing, because Bottoms Up is like a swinging blues kind of thing, and it's got that breakdown and the doo-wop. Come on, mum. It's a cool ass song that could never be recreated, ever.
Well, there you
It's
go.
great.
Bringing forth that Van Halen swing that they do so well.
Yeah.
We'll see
Show my
how
cards.
he's already showing his cards, but that's all right because the more we get into it, I don't know, your mind might sway or maybe it won't. Who knows? It's been known to happen. I have always thought of voting a particular way for a particular song, and then something along the line might change it. So it's not uncommon, it's not unheard of. So we'll find out how we feel about Bottoms Up. But Corey, I think we should just launch into it whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. This was a frequent show closer back in 1978 from Van Halen 2. This is Bottoms Up. All right. Already, this is an upvote from Ryan Powell. He sent that the minute I hit play on the track. So we got our first upvote of the evening.
Notice how they showcase each member of the band just in that few seconds. Each member has their own little part to it.
Nice little introduction, even though like at this point, Bottoms Up is it doesn't open the album, but I could see how it could have been an opening track with, as you pointed out, it's like, look, we're going to introduce you to everybody. Like, remember us here. We're back for the sequel because this album's the sequel, even though technically I think Van Halen 1 or 2 are just one big album, but that's just me.
It's for sure one of those songs that they had jammed probably before Van Halen 1, but didn't make Van Halen 1, but is awesome on 2. Right? This is like, okay, let's do this. I got this swinging bluesy kind of track and, Roth sing. Let's see.
Roth, do your thing.
Yeah, it works.
Kevin Brown points out that Ed is doing his Billy Gibbons homage right off the top. So we're back to the blues there a little
That's
bit.
exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
And everyone's mad at Ryan for spoiling his vote already because he put spoiler alert. This is an upvote. Ryan, of course, upvotes every single song. So not much of a spoiler. It's like saying you're spoiling Oppenheimer for me by saying there's a bomb in it.
Hey, guys, I love Van Halen songs.
Damn it. Bomb at the end.
Shit.
All right, let's keep rocking here.
Sitting here about half the night. Mama filled my cup up. Said, I came here to waste some time. I think I'm gonna jump up. I'm singing, I'm dancing most every night. And I want to do that with you, babe. Let's do this final ride. Oh, baby. Bottoms up.
It's that right there. It's Roth doing the low end and Michael doing the high end. And they did a ton of that, obviously, in the first album, but the second album, I don't know. There's a little more free flow to it, and it's definitely more push to the top. Sounds amazing. I mean, it launches that song into another stratosphere, right? The song is basically like 4/4 blues, whatever, shuffle with Alex's kind of double bass and blah. But then that chorus comes in and Michael Anthony just kicks it up to another level.
And once
They were
again,
so great together.
Roth and the boys doing the very thing that they're good at, which is less is more in the chorus. Just say the title. If you want to, spice it up with a few vocal ornamentations, go ahead. So what does that mean to Dave? Like, well, he's going to do the howl. He's going to scream. He's going to do his little Roth-isms. They're all there.
But
it started here.
He's also holding the bottom end, right? Like, like he's doing that. Like I don't know. He doesn't get enough credit as a vocalist that way. He's a good singer. He was a good singer.
It was like he had his preface that. Yeah, he had his moments, some good moments back in the day. But I mean, we can't say he was just absolutely terrible because that's just not true. And if you were terrible, I guarantee you the band does not nearly go as far as they do in the time frame that they did. So
Found a great quote from Eddie about this song. He said, "It's a proven song because in the 10 months that we toured in 78 in the support of the debut album, at least 6 of the months we played it every night for our encore. And everywhere from Japan to Texas, they loved it. That's a boogie, and I did a good solo in that, which I like."
Well, that's good. That's good that Eddie was keen on the solo. I mean, I get it. Yeah, artists are their own biggest critics. So if Eddie has been like, yeah, I wasn't crazy about that solo, and then you'd be kind of down on it the next time you listen to it. You just go like, I really like listening to the solo, but I have the knowledge that Eddie thought it was awful. It's just like, oh man, now it just it's kind of ruined for me. So, but hearing those comments kind of give me more joy when I hear the solo. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he says, he goes on to say, and I quote, "Personally, I hate soloing to boogies because it doesn't really fit my style. I like to noodle out of the rhythm as opposed to playing in the beat. So I was pretty happy with it because it did have a feeling to it."
No,
He nails this. This is one of the best.
It was one of
I
my
think.
favorite aspects of Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2 is that they played these songs so many times that when it came time to get in the studio and cut them, like they know them inside out. They're already perfected.
oh yeah.
Well, so really quick, like you guys made the point on the podcast like 2 weeks ago about the 6-packs, everybody's 6-packs.
Mhm.
And to me, one of the interesting things is that Van Halen 2 is on everybody's list.
Yeah.
And it should be. I think 2 is better than 1. It's only because, we've heard every song on 1 6,000 times. I can't listen to it, but I can listen to Van Halen 2 from front to back right now and appreciate every moment of it with the sound. But the sound is better than 1. But on top of it, they all kind of find themselves a little bit in the recording. And this is one of those tracks where it's like very basic. There's not much to this, but it's flair, right?
Mm.
It's Eddie making things happen, Alex, Michael doing the pitch, and David all over the place. And they recorded this thing in like 9 days or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I
incredible.
think when they recorded 1, they're kind of just happy to be there. Then they go on tour, and they toured
Yep.
with Sabbath. Then they come back, and they're like, okay, we've been around the world now. We know what we're doing even more. And they're tighter, like you said. And then Templeman knows what he's doing. It sounds, it's another level.
Self-realized.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Pretty maids all in a row. Go on, set 'em up. I'm singing, I'm dancing, most every night. And I wanna do that with you, babe. Let's do this bottle
All right. So the sound of his guitar there is different than almost every other solo he's played, right? And I don't know technically what that is, but it is different. There's a reverb, there's an echo. He's playing in a different room. It sounds different, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, yeah.
It's funny because there was production photos around that time recording Van Halen 2, and it was all of them in the same room with beer cans strewn everywhere, right? There was no isolation booths or anything. So maybe that's what's different. They're actually in the room recording it off the floor.
Just sounds punched in, but punched in a way that they deliberately make it sound like it's in a different room or something, like a different recording. I don't know. It's always struck me as something because most of what they do is seamless, right? Eddie, especially, he's very particular about his sound and how it fits into whatever he's doing and the Brown sound, yada, yada. But like that solo, like it just sounds like it's from a different everything, but it's
Right
so
before the solo, if you see the lyrics, I mean, and some of the guitar work, it sounds like a prequel to Romeo Delight. The similar lyrics, similar guitar, just in that one spot, but it's like he's channeling it or something. And I'm gonna write more to this song, next album.
In my head canon, that's lore now.
Mark loves prequels. Yeah, Tom said sounds punched in, but not in a bad way. Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment there too.
Totally.
Yep.
And here comes the best part.
Yep.
Second best part.
All right, let's keep her going.
All right. And let's sing a little bit. Come on, baby. Bottoms up. Come on, baby. Bottoms up. Come on, baby. Bottoms up. Come on, baby. Bottoms up.
Yeah, they're definitely all in the room together.
Yeah. They leave in all the screw ups, though. They always do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen close, Dave screws up, and they're like, they keep going, guys. It's fine. It just makes it better.
Yeah, I love that they kept that in because it gives it like the authenticism of look how much fun. Listen to how much fun we're having. Like you can hear it. Look, we're laughing about it because we're fucking around. But like, look how great it sounds. Like listen to it. It's awesome. I like it. It gives it a very real vibrancy. Like you're in the room with them. Like who doesn't want to be in the room with them, right?
Yep. I just
That to me is the thing about when I heard later how much they hated each other and how much Eddie hated Dave.
Yeah.
Like it always bummed me out so much because it's like, God, you guys sounded like you were having so much fun. Like all the time. Like the Panama video and like
I'm sure they had great days but then they had some real bad ones that just sort of like outweighed the good.
1000%. But like in that moment, hearing that is gleeful. They sound like they're having fun. And I don't think it's forced at all. Like it's real.
And that's rock and roll. Rock and roll is not perfect. Quit playing the tracks, everybody. Play music for fuck's sakes.
Play music, yes.
Josh, anything to add? Sorry, I feel like we're kind of leaving Josh out here.
Oh, the interesting thing is on this particular record versus the debut, I can hear Michael's bass a little more prominent in the mix. And it doesn't sound like it's fighting with anything. Because the first album to me, and this is just a slight preference, but I like the production on the second record better because it doesn't sound as washed and reverb. Mm-hmm. Sounds a little drier, a little more in your face. And I can hear all of, Alex's, tom hits a little clearer on this record. And I can definitely on this song for sure.
Well, I agree. I had 2 ranked above 1 on my 6-pack, largely for that reason. And as Jeff points out, here comes the cooler solo. I love that little bass run right at the end.
Yeah.
Mikey's nice and high in the mix. Good stuff. All right.
They do the greatest outros.
Yeah, they really do. They
Just
really
over and over again.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says no one else in history has ever made a guitar sound like that, man. It's just utterly unique to Ed and sensational.
I would agree. Yeah, between Eddie and Brian May, it's like those are 2 dudes that their sound immediately because it's their sound, often duplicated, absolutely never ever replicated because you can't.
But Eddie's sound has changed like 19 times through the history of the recordings, right? It changes. It's over. It's something different every time, but his playing is what you know. Yeah.
he still has a tonality within, I guess, like within his fingers that really bring out the Van Halen-ness of it, which is, again, it's not easy to do, but like once you are, as a guitar player or any musician, really, you find your particular sound and stick with it. No matter how much you grow it and evolve it, it's going to stand out because they're just going to have a unique stamp that's yours. You know what I mean? Eddie definitely had that. Yeah. So, and now there it is with one of our Van Halen 2 tracks, and it's time for Corey to do the thing he loves to do, play the game that's where I lose all the time, Yep, caught you off guard.
There we go. Well, I had a cue and I just had to get it playing. All right, gentlemen, how many times do we think Van Halen played Bottoms Up live in their career? Because Mark pissed me off, we're going to go last with Mark here. Let's start with Josh. Josh, how many times do you think Van Halen played this cut?
140 times.
145?
Okay, 145 times.
No, sorry, I didn't hear you the first time. What did you say?
140.
140. Okay, 140 for Josh. How about you, Michael?
Let's say 205.
205. All right, Matt.
Going big, 300.
300. Okay, Markimeyer. Remember, closest to the actual number without going over.
90 times.
90 times.
90 times.
90 times. All right. Well, Kevin Brown says Kevin's going 375. He just went over. Matt's our winner. The correct number, 330 times.
Wow. As they should, because this is a good track for them to play. So yeah, they should have kept this on the set a lot.
Good jam.
Last time they played it was
chunky jam.
Absolutely. They played it in 2012 one time. So on that reunion,
they should have.
It made it on one show.
So I saw all those shows when they came around. That's one they should have played every time. That's something so easy for him to sing. And I don't know why they didn't. But anyway.
Well, before we move.
Sorry, I just wanted because I brought up that one set list.
Yeah.
It was in San Jose. Bottoms Up was played 13th after You Really Got Me and just before Dance the Night Away.
Oh, that's a good spot for it. I think it's nice. Like give it a little swing and then you dance the night away. Yeah, I dig it. But I'm pretty sure I know how this is gonna go. But it's time to vote. It's time to let the people know, let the audience realize how did we feel about Bottoms Up truly. So starting with our honored guests, I'm gonna start with you, Josh Caldwell. You know the drill. You know how this works. So I ask you, sir, is Bottoms Up what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
That was a solid bottoms up from my juice box. Thumbs up.
There it is. Enough said. All right, right on. So, Matt Lacoste, pretty sure. I mean, you've had a lot to say while we were listening to it, so I'm pretty sure I know how it goes. But here I'll ask you because it's what we do. Is this song Bottoms Up what dreams are made of for you, or is is your glass empty and it's run out?
I'll finish my glass after I said, no, this is one of my favorite songs off this album. It's just a kick-ass thing. It's 1,000% about what dreams are made of. Like if this isn't a 95%, then whatever. Fuck off.
I would not hold your breath on it, but we've been surprised before, so maybe the voting will come through for you. But I don't know. We shall see. Michael, I throw it over to you, man. We've already got 2 up votes, so I ask you: is Bottoms Up what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
To do this together. I mean, it's the ultimate party song from the Ultimate Party Band. And when they close, I mean, they should close with it all the time. I mean, what a better everyone can cheers at the end of a concert. So perfect ending song, but it's just a fun song. It's from start to finish. made very well, showcases every member of the band. More Mikey, which is always good. So yeah, thumbs way up. And yeah, if it doesn't get 95, I mean, come on, just turn in your membership card for the band.
I would agree with that, maybe. But like I said, the voting sometimes gets fickle, so time will tell. Corey,
Great call.
I ask you, we did not get a Sammy tune that we were trying to get. I know you were in an OU812 mood, and the wheel said, "Nah, gonna take you back even further to one of your beloved albums, Van Halen 2." So must I ask, is this what dreams are made of, or is your dream over?
There's no bad song on Van Halen 2. Like, just period. End of story. It's my favorite Van Halen album. I'm not downvoting a single thing on this record. Spoiler alert, along with Ryan Powell. The only thing I could maybe bring up in the sequencing of the album, like you said, this is sandwiched between Somebody Get Me a Doctor and Out of Love Again. This is such a great closer. Close the album with it. Instead of Beautiful Girls, which, you know, put Beautiful Girls between Somebody Get Me a Doctor. You know, it kind of ends on that kiss, right? This week we got that really cool outro on it.
See, in my life, I've loved sequence of albums. I've loved how that works and the thoughts. I think Beautiful Girls is one of the best album closers of all time.
I'm not faulting the song at all. I love it, but it ends like abruptly for an album closer. Don't you want a big performance at the end?
Yeah, but like, you know, the way it ends, I can see it the other way. I'm not disagreeing with you entirely, but Beautiful Girls, the way that ends, just the kiss and that's it. It's over. It's cool.
See, I
this
think
would work too. You're right, Corey.
You can maybe end side A with Beautiful Girls as the album closer. I want something with a little more punch in it. Just my preference. And Tom is still mulling the transition between Bottoms Up and Dance the Night Away. Yeah, that's you have to listen to those in sequence.
You know better than just stating your own preferences, Corey.
Someone's bashing their head into a steering wheel right now. Somebody somewhere in the world.
Not yet, but give me a moment.
All right, Mark.
Stay on the road, sir.
Yeah.
Stay on the road.
Mark's going to vote. I'm hovering over the dream is over because I just don't know. Mark and Meyer, is this what dreams are made of, or is the dream over?
Because I am not the troll that you might think I am, in fact. So no. This is a no-brainer. I'm with Corey on this one. Spoiler alert, you're probably not going to get a downvote from me on Van Halen 2 because I adore this album. Bottoms Up is great. From top to bottom. I said earlier I could see it just with the way the intro is set. I could have seen them maybe open up with this song, but I think I'm with Corey now. Like, they probably should have closed the album with this song, close it out with a bang. I'm with him on that one. Not that I hate the sequence of how the album plays out, but still, I could see it. I could see it at the end, and I wouldn't be mad about it. I'm not gonna. There's nothing else to really say about it than what everyone else has already said. Like, this is just a kick-ass, good swinging rock song by the band who does it the best. Van Halen, and it doesn't. Yeah, that's all I got, man. It's just you can't downvote this thing. I don't think the voting is going to go as high as we want it or that it should go. But I would love to be wrong. I love, hey, you guys out there that still listen and love it when I'm wrong, prove me wrong. I don't think this is going to get 95% what dreams are made of. I don't think it's going to happen. Not at all. Whether it deserves it or not.
Yeah,
it does.
I'd like to fight the downvoters out there. Yeah. Just straight up fight.
There you go, you guys.
Yeah.
If you're downvoting this song, I mean, you just got to get off Twitter. You just got to go away.
New Patreon tier. Matt Lacoste is going to fight you naysayers that downvote any track from Van Halen 2. And if you want to see
this
that
one
fight,
particularly.
Okay, this one in particular.
This is, God damn it! You can't fight this one.
You guys are gonna have to track the IP addresses from the downvotes. And if there's one from England, we'll know exactly who it was.
Oh,
that's true.
Kevin Brown, who's also from jolly old England, said, "Don't worry. If he's from Bristol, he's only going to make himself smarter with a concussion." So shots fired there.
Those are Kevin Brown's words. Also, listen to Seaside Pod Review.
Oh,
While
please.
you're-
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's funny.
Please listen to that show.
So Jeff says it has a chance at 95. I don't think it's going to hit 95. Ryan is predicting 87. I'm kind of right in that 87, 88 range too. I think that's where it's going to hit. Kev is saying 90. There's some of the great tracks that are only in the 80s is staggering. So I think this is going to be 87, 88.
Yeah. I'm still, Corey, I'm still not over the results for Ain't Talking About Love. I'm not over the Unchained results. I'm just like,
that's
because I just don't understand. I don't understand who's voting this way. Who are you people who hurt you?
Here's a question. Have we done, and maybe I missed it. Have we done Out of Love again?
Yep. That was one of our first shows, actually.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That one.
What was that
80.
one? Because that's
80.
the one weird song on Van Halen 2.
Yeah. 80% what dreams are made of, 20% dream is over.
Okay.
And even then, I
Interesting.
thought that was fair. But yeah.
That was our good friend Chris from Pot of Thunder. That's the show he came on. We did that in Eruption. That was actually
And Eruption.
Eddie's birthday. We did that one. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
All
right.
right. All right.
Early
Right
show.
on.
So there
Right
you
on.
have it. Full clean sweep across the board. Bottoms up. What dreams are made of. And if you disagree, then do us the favor at least. Like if you're going to go to the polls, you're going to vote like bottoms up didn't do it for you. I would just be very curious as to why. Now, we're not here to shame you or ridicule you. But unless you just give an answer like the song sucks. That's it. Like, okay. Well, all right, genius. No. I legit. If bottoms up didn't do it for you, please let us know. Let us know why, because I just want to get a different perspective. But if you're being a troll, then I don't know, troll on. What have you. It's fine. You can troll me all you want at Mark the Bet on Twitter and Threads. I'm never on Threads, but you can try. Anyway, so there you go. Corey, I think that'll about do it for us. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I think that's it. So you guys, we keep talking about it and we're going to keep talking about it until we're blue in the face and in even a little bit after. We've got a Patreon. And as is evident, on the panel tonight, our honored guests, they are part of that Patreon. They're on a part of a special tier, and you can be on that tier too. And you can be on the show monthly. All you got to do is go find the tier that works for you. Go to that tier, find out what you can do to be on the show, and then if you pay the tier, you can tell me to my face, sort of through a screen, how wrong I am all the time about anything on the show whatsoever. And you know what? And I'll sit here and I'll listen to you. I'll rebuttal, but I'll listen to you because well, you paid to be here. So, might as well get your money's worth. Hit it, throw it all at me. We're here. My ears are wide open for you. So go to the Patreon, go check it out. Let me actually read off our patron list right now, just as a special thank you. You already know the three on the panel, but I'll go ahead and say it. Matt Lacoste right there. Josh Caldwell, Michael Griffith. We've got Nate from the Deep Purple Podcast, Rava Flav, Greg Zito, Chaz Charles, Sean McGinnity from the Meet the Geeks, Kevin Brown in the chat, Per Lineker, Scott Monroe, Ryan Powell, Jeff Brewer, Ben Adriozzi, Tim Armbruster, Scott Everett, and of course, Wabo and Cabo himself, Don. So thank you all so much, man. You guys, you're keeping the lights on. You're keeping the conversation fun. I love it when Corey and I go back and forth. That's all well and good, but man, we got people with us all the time. We always got nice guests and on and like enthusiastic people. That always makes the shows all the better, I think. So bottom of my heart, I thank all of you on the Patreon list, and I thank all of the listeners as well. Like even if you don't like what we have to say, you're still listening. So thank you. And thank you to the lurkers in the chat. You can be a lurker. You can watch us record, join the Patreon, find a tier that's right for you. If, like I said, if we don't have it, we'll make it. Guarantee we'll find something for you. We're not above anything. So that being said, Josh, Michael, Matt, always a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for being on. We didn't hit any of your manifestations, but hell, I think we got a good track across the board. Everyone seemed really into it. So absolutely. Yeah. Josh, anything you want to promote, plug, anything you got for the fans?
You can find me at Upper Mids on Twitter, and waste your time with me if you want. Hit me up the DM.
Slide into his DMs. That's what he said. There he is.
We are open.
Good guitar content. There it is. So Matt Lacoste, how about yourself, man?
Nothing. thank you for putting this show together, and thank you for, what you guys are doing. I think the show is great, and I'm happy to be a part of it when I can be. It's a great conversation, and whatever. I'm enjoying it. So let's go. We've got what another 150 songs to go.
Well, time will tell. I don't know. We are inching ever so closer to the end of this particular wheel, but that doesn't mean that the wheels in general will disappear. So that is all on you guys, the listeners. You
guys are doing a great job. I love it.
Thank you.
Not banging my head against any steering wheels.
Good. Don't do that. That's dangerous. But Michael Griffith, rounding us out, where can the people, you got anything to plug and want the people to find you on socials?
At Mike S. Griffith, Twitter, Instagram, I guess. Talk about Van Halen. And yeah, like Matt said, you guys are doing a fantastic job. So thank you. Awesome to be a part of it.
Appreciate that, man. That's awesome stuff. So where you can find that Patreon, by the way, patreon.com as I think /podcast will rock. Is that the correct link?
That is correct.
Yeah, there you go. And if I'm wrong about that, go to www.podcastwillrock.com. Check out our website. All of the shows posted there. If you missed any, you can go back and check on what songs we've done, which ones we have left to go. And also we have a merch store. Get you some merch, get you some stickers. You can slap on your local watering holes, restroom, toilet seat dispenser, or whatever the thing. There's always stickers on those things. So why not get you some Podcast Will Rock? Spread the word. Buy some shirts, courtesy of Kevin Brown, because he always gives us some really awesome and hilarious designs that we love. And show your friends. I figure if a whole army of us is out there wearing Podcast Will Rock shirts that say, little inside jokes that will be in the know, that's something people want to know. That people want to be in the know of the inside jokes. So buy the shirts, wear them, and when people say, "What the hell's up with that?" you go, let me tell you about this podcast, and send them our way, man. Corey, where can the people find other shows that we are a part of? Because it's your universe, man. Let them know what's going on in your universe.
I'll tell you, first of all, we might be getting a new shirt. Whatever happened to Tim Armbruster? Because you said Tim, not Tom.
Oh, no, I did not. No. Did I really? Shit.
You did, yeah. And then good old Tim heard it too. He put it in the chat. He's like, Tim? Yeah.
I heard it.
You're an enchanter. There are those that call you Tim. Nope, you're Tom. So #apologies to Tom.
You do a great job hosting. So many words. What are you gonna do? You just gotta say things. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. This is what happens. This is why I can't be trusted behind the mic.
Yeah,
man.
And Ryan Powell says Mark is just helping to encourage headbangers. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I'm a metalhead, of course. Bang your head as hard as you can. Obviously, yeah. What are we doing?
Just not on the steering wheel. That sounds painful. But yes, you can catch this show and other shows as part of the Deep Dive Podcasting Network. Let's go through the show, shall we? Myself, John Mariano, and Scott Haskins do a little show called Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited. John and I also do a show called Backtracks Theme Music, talking all things music and movies. Scott is winding up Uriah Heep, the Magician's podcast, but he's eclipsed 100,000 downloads. You can still catch those on demand. Great show. Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast, The Simple Man at Skinnerd Reconsidered, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the Other Side, Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Paul, Joe, and David at In the Lap of the Pods, that's a Queen show, of course, Andy and Mac at Hawk Binge, Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Aussie Podcast, Ben and Sam at University Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast, Clay and Rye at North by South Podcast. That's a cool one, pitting American music against Canadian music. Greg and Jonathan are back with a show called So Far, So Pod, So What, talking all things Megadeth. Mr. Kevin Brown in the chat does a show called The Tom Petty Project. Everyone should check out. And with the Cardinal of the Church of Go Fuck Yourself, Randy Woods do a little show called Seaside Pod Review, talking all things Queen. Quinn at In Volume for All, Sav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette Podcast, and Chaz and Greg at Regarding Lulu. And of course, our old friends who have helped us out in some way or been on the show, the Sean Geek and Fast Threat Podcast, You're All Doomed, a Friday the 13th podcast, of course, the DLR Cast, and the Bogus Otis Show, Pod of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, Booked on Rock with the legendary Eric Senich, Dissect That Film, and Three's Company 2, Rewatch Podcast.
Ooh, so much content and so much but Corey is Galactus, and he's here to devour your world. You know, to sustain him. There must be, in the end, there must be only one podcasting universe, and that's the CMPU. So be on the lookout, everybody. It's just you're well on your way, man. So
the fourth show is dropping soon.
Fields.
Ooh, there.
Oh, you have no idea. The next show that I'm doing with Kevin Brown, we're doing the band that's about as far away from Van Halen as you can get.
Oh no.
Oh wow, you're doing Falling in Reverse?
Is it Winger?
Nope.
Choice.
It's not Winger. No, it's
Is
not
it Winger? Is it Winger? Is that what all this has been leading up to? It's Winger.
Is it an a cappella band, or is that not work?
No.
Because
no,
it's strictly it's the doo-wop era of Billy Joel.
Think more.
It's
prog
Billy Joel.
/ pop.
I know it is. It's Billy Joel. What?
Oh,
Think more prog / pop.
Genesis.
Well,
Potentially.
Oh, wait a minute. Of course. Okay. All right. Well,
Genesis is a good guess. I was gonna say Rush, but like,
Attaboy,
you know.
Mark. Attaboy.
I pay attention to some of the things that Corey says from time to time, and there may have been a slip of that name on occasion. So
Genesis is an interesting one.
Nevertheless, be on the lookout, you guys. That's as he said, it's dropping soon, and again,
All right.
that's just
Cool.
one more world to add to his collection. So there you go.
Genesis,
But,
Peter Gabriel.
yeah.
No,
Gosh.
there you go.
I
Weird
guess
band.
I can kind of spoil it. We kind of split the discography into two. We're just covering Phil Collins Genesis.
Oh, wow. Until the Patreon, and then you'd be like, oh, do you guys want the Peter Gabriel? It's like, well, yeah, obviously it's Peter Gabriel.
Well, I tell you what,
so.
after listening to the first couple of albums with Phil Collins, I don't think I want the Peter Gabriel. No,
Oh my, them
Different band. Like
look,
a
man,
totally different band.
totally different.
you
band,
want to? Let me tell you, the Genesis diehards are legion, as it turns out. So be careful what you say. They might come for you for saying, because there's some, I'm sure, Peter Gabriel diehards that would absolutely just verbally strangle you for saying that or even thinking it. But again, I guess time will tell. We will find out.
I'm doing the podcast with one of those people, Mr. Kevin Brown. So yeah, it's been an interesting experiment, and we're kind of doing the format a little different. In that we're actually ranking every song on the album. So we're ranking, one episode is going to be side A of an album, say Trick of the Tail. Episode 2 is side B of that album. And we're ranking every song on different criteria: music, lyrics, and production. And we're going to have a final grade.
The final grade.
Yep. And we're going to determine the best album of the Phil Collins era of Genesis. And then it's going to be a format we're going to take on to other bands. So, ZZ Top is actually in line for maybe doing the second one. Foo Fighters have come up. There's different bands we're thinking about for season 2.
Well, I know you've been wanting to I know you've been wanting to do a ZZ Top one there for a while.
Very
so
much,
that makes
very
perfect
much.
sense.
ZZ Top
there
is
you
tough
go.
because it changes so much.
And that's
Like,
what we may have
old
to split
ZZ
into
Top
as well.
versus, I mean, like, step
Yeah.
inside my sleeping bag. Like, that's some weird shit.
Yeah, no, and we talked.
a weird
yeah,
one.
but then they go from that though into like, and I don't want to get too deep into a ZZ Top, but like La Futura is just a great kick and blues.
I love
record
it.
Again.
I love that album.
Fantastic record.
Well, there you
All right,
go.
man.
You gave
Well,
him
that's cool as hell.
a preview. You gave him a little preview, a little scoop, if you will. You guys be on the lookout for that, and on the lookout for all of the things coming down the pipeline in the Corey Morissette podcasting universe, because it's taking over the airwaves one at a time. But before he gets too deep into all of that, he's got to finish this one, and we're still going strong here, talking Van Halen here at And the Podcast Will Rock. So on behalf of all of us at the panel, we are And the Podcast Will Rock, and we will rock you later.